since we're talking both about prayer and evangelization, I wanted to connect this to, how does this apply to us with regard to evangelization and calling to share the gospel with others, right? Jesus has called us to go and share the good news. Evangelization is everything that we do to share this with others. So how do these rules so far apply to evangelization? Well, if we think about if God is calling us to evangelize, what kind of spiritual experiences would God desire for us with regard to evangelization? Is the good Spirit desirous to give us, first off, which path are we on? If we're even considering evangelizing, what path are we on? Yeah, we're going from good to better, right? We're on the path following God. So if we're on the path from good to better, what does the good Spirit do? What does he give?
Awareness. Consolation.
Yep. Encouragement, consolations, right? Right? So what might we experience? God has called us to follow him and evangelize, so he's going to try to guide us towards what he's calling us to do, what he's made us for. All of us are part of that mission. He's designed each of us with those specific gifts to be able to do that. Right? So he's going to guide us toward that form of evangelization that he's called us. And we'll give consolations, things to encourage us, inspirations from the Holy Spirit. Doesn't always mean it will always be comfortable. Sometimes God is going to, he is going to prompt us to do things that we might resist at first, right? Because we're also struggling with the opposite path, right? So, so sometimes this consolations may also be in the form of kind of this push that we have towards that. But it's a very different experience from what the bad spirit will do. Because what might the bad spirit do? Does he want us to evangelize? No, he doesn't, right? He does not want anybody else to know about Jesus. So he's going to try to ensure that we never tell anyone else, right? If he can't stop you from knowing about Jesus, he can make sure that you don't let anybody else know. Right? And so that's what he's going to do, and he's going to allow these various obstacles in the way, right? These desolation type experiences. So here's some that just came to my mind. He'll make us feel unworthy to do this. You can't do this kind of thing. God should send somebody else. This happened to every prophet throughout the entire scriptures, right? That was their first thing. Send somebody else. And God's like, no. I chose you. You're the one for the job. He will make us feel unequipped. You're never going to know how to do this properly. There's just too much for you to know. You're too bad at this. Once again, this is not from God. Once again, you see this often with the prophets as well. God chooses you oftentimes because we're not on our own equipped. He will give us what we need to be able to do it. The enemy will try to make us feel overwhelmed. This is something that's too big for me. I don't have the energy. I'll never make the difference. I don't have the time. I'm doing these other things. All sorts of excuses that the enemy will allow us to try to utilize to not share the gospel. And especially discouragement. No one's going to listen to you. They're just going to say no. There's no reason to bother inviting somebody to that small group. Don't invite that person. They're not going to say yes, right? To try to discourage us. And whether it's in evangelization or in other areas of our faith life, you probably have noticed these kinds of things working on you. It's important to be able to notice and name these things so that we can act against them.